You're listening to All in the Industry, an independent podcast dedicated to behind-the-scenes talent in the hospitality industry, hosted and produced by me, Sherry Bayer. Since initially launching in 2014, we have broadcast more than 400 episodes, and now we're excited to be on our new platform. To learn more, visit allintheindustry.com. Support for this episode comes from the Institute of Culinary Education. To learn more, visit ice.edu today. Well, hello, welcome to All in the Industry. I'm your host and producer, Sherry Bayer, and this is our 421st episode of this series, which is dedicated to behind-the-scenes talent in the hospitality industry. Today, I have a special show with an exceptional chef and restaurateur from Mexico City, who I visited recently at his restaurant, and I had an amazing trip, and I will tell you more about that on this show and introduce him fully in a moment. But first, as I do on every show, I will start out with my PR tip, and then we will have my interview, which includes a speed round, and I will close out with my solo dining experience. As the founder of Bayer Public Relations, I'm going to tip the show off with my PR tip of the week. So today's tip is to be a good person. Yes, simply that. Let's aim to be and live as well-respected human beings. Let's all strive to be who others respect and admire and think highly of, not only professionally, but personally. Let's think how we want to be remembered and what we want our legacy to be. And never lose sight on what's most important, living a life with dignity, as we only have one legacy, so let's make it count. That's my tip today. Okay, so I'm so excited about today's show, as my guest is Jorge Vallejo, the chef and owner of Quintonil in Mexico City, a 2 Michelin star restaurant that is currently ranked number 3 on the world's 50 best restaurants 2025. Jorge opened Quintonil in 2012 along with his wife Alejandra Flores, or Ali, who is responsible for the restaurant's exceptional hospitality. And he's leading the charge of new wave Mexican gastronomy, focusing on fresh, local ingredients and traditional Mexican flavors and techniques weaved into modern preparations. Quintonil brings a unique brand of creativity to the plate, and I was fortunate to dine there for the second time since I had visited back in 2018. And that is when I initially met Jorge and was introduced to his amazing cuisine and hospitality. And I was so grateful to be back and have time to spend with Jorge and Ali as a part of a media trip, which was absolutely exceptional. And I'm really thankful for the experience. And I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to sit down with Jorge before lunch at his restaurant and hear his story, which is what is coming up on this show. And Jorge is also a contributor to my Chef Wise book, which I'm truly honored and grateful for, and someone I've gotten to know a bit over the years, mostly from traveling to events around the world where we have crossed paths. And I'm just a big fan. So I will take you now to our interview, and then I'll come back and share a solo dining experience from Mexico City, as well as some of the other fantastic eats that I had while visiting. And with that, here you go. My conversation with Jorge Vallejo at Quintonil in Mexico City. Enjoy. Hello, Jorge. I'm here in Mexico City at your amazing restaurant, Quintonil. I'm so excited to be here and for lunch this afternoon. How are you doing today?
Well, finally, we having you. Thank you very much for coming. We're very, very happy, very excited as well to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be back. I was here in 2018, and I can't wait to go into the restaurant and see the whole space because it looks familiar, but yet it seems like, I don't know if you've changed things up. Have you in the past 7 years?
I always say that Quintonil is a restaurant in constant under construction, if that means something. We always, all the time, trying to change things, to make it look nicer. We started in a very, very humble way. The restaurant was built in 2012, only owned by me and Ale, my wife. And we started with a very, very limited budget. So every year we try to, like do some fine tuning. This year was the lights. Then we change the tabletops. Every year we try to make it look nicer, look prettier. Yeah.
Yeah, always tweaking and moving forward. So before we talk more about Quintonil and what you're doing here, I always like to start and find out about the background of my guests. So I want to know, where did you grow up and when did you get the inkling or the desire or the thought that you wanted to be a chef?
Well, actually, I grew up not far away from here, from this area. I grew up in Condesa and Mexico City, always been living here most of the time of my life. I had a few years living outside the country because I was working at a time in a cruise line, and then I worked in Europe for a while. And but most of the time I was born, raised, trained, worked here in Mexico. Yeah.
And where? What was like a first job you had at a restaurant?
I started in a very, very small casual place called El Segundo Plato, which was in a Segundo Plato means the second plate, and or the second course, maybe in English, better translate. And it was 1996, something like that. I started in the kitchen. Because I took a year off in the school, and I not took a year off, but they kicked me out from the school.
However you want to put it.
Yeah, I took a year off. Yeah, and I started to work in a restaurant. This was super close by to where my mother was working at that time. And we had a good relationship with the owners of the restaurant because we were coming to eat almost every day there. It was super, super casual. We call it here in Mexico fonda, which means you can go there. They change the menu daily, and you have like a salad and a soup, and then a main course, and then a dessert. And that's how it works, this type of restaurants. So I entered to the kitchen there, and I fell in love with cooking. I was 15 years old back then, so I never left. Yeah.
Well, I'm a little older, but in 1996, believe it or not, I worked in a kitchen. Or actually, I worked front of house, but I volunteered one day a week in the kitchen at Charlie Trotter's in Chicago, because I had that time thought I wanted to be a chef. And I learned so much. But when you said 1996, I'm like, I was working in restaurants then too. I don't know if you know of him.
Yeah, I know. Of course, he's a legend. No, of course. Yeah. It was tough kitchen, I've heard.
It was tough. I describe him as a perfectionist or someone who just aims for excellence, and working at that level was challenging, but I learned so much. It was eye-opening to me to see how a kitchen at that level would run. And we were talking a little earlier about, vegetable tasting menus or vegan tasting menus. Back then, Charlie had a regular tasting menu and he had a vegetarian tasting menu. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And I was there he was like already 10 years in of opening. So he was very ahead of the curve.
Nice. Well, I believe that the people, like Charlie, like Alan Passard, like maybe Thomas Keller, that they have this ambivalent kind of point of view about what does it mean to serve food to people, that it doesn't matter if it's only vegetables or it's in between or protein all the way. You're devoted to to the guest. I also do the same. And we don't say it, but we have the big vegan options, we have the vegetarian options, we have the pescatarian options, we have the we take care of allergies, of course. You have to be prepared to serve anyone that can come in from outside and want to have an experience, because that's what we do. We try to create experiences. We try to make people feel happy, make people feel at home in a way, and you can only find this, or you can only achieve this, as you were saying, this excellence, by giving yourself 100% to the guest. And this means sometimes you need to do vegan, and you need to be prepared.
You got to be ready. You're in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
So you got the bug for cooking. Did you ever train in culinary school, or you learned everything more on the job?
No, I came back to school, the high school, and then I spoke with my parents. I mean, in the meantime, I never stopped working. I decided to start to work for myself, because then you start to work, and then you start to have your own money, and then you don't want to lose that independence, no?
Right.
So I started to work and find myself in a situation, very, very convenient situation, because I entered to this culinary school, and they were also like given financial support to people that works in the industry. So I entered to work there, and it was the culinary school, but also was a side business of this super huge banquet salon called Ambrosia here in Mexico City. It was a super emblematic banquet salon at that time. And then they started to train their own cooks. This guy, again, the owner, Guillermo Rios, was also very much ahead.
Yeah.
And super nice guy. They wanted to people to accomplish goals, no? And he was a provider of that mission, no? For us cooks, young cooks that didn't have the opportunity to go to the CIA or to or to Switzerland, or because at that time here in Mexico was no culinary schools at all. If you wanted to study in the culinary school, you needed to go.
You need to go abroad, or yeah,
exactly. So I started there, and then after I finished, I spent a couple times going to Europe to stash in some kitchens, and then I came back, and then I had the opportunity to work in a cruise line, and that was for me the game changer for sure. Because people all the time they are little surprised me as a chef in a fine dining restaurant, Quintonil and whatever, and they how come the cruise ship or the cruise experience give you or put you where you are right now? But for me, as you're saying, it's the discipline, is the you need to really work inside to be able to manage that amount of work for that many months with no day off, every day in the sea is super hard.
Oh, I can imagine that. I mean, I've never worked on a boat, but I've been on cruises, and just the volume and the quantity, and that it's literally a 24-hour, 24/7, or however many days of the cruise. But if you're on the ship, it's constant. And I'm sure, that must have given you a tremendous amount of training, discipline, knowledge. So,
Yeah, and self, like you need to push yourself, because it's like a competition, to be honest, because there will be another guy coming to take your position when you go off the ship. And every time people, kitchens always been like a hierarchy, what?
Hierarchy.
Hierarchy. And you want to, to step up all the time. And so people are tough people, no? And I was very young at that time, so I managed to become one of the youngest chefs de partie in a ship that gives 3,500 passengers, 3 meals a day. So it was tough at that time.
Did you get to see the world a bit too? Did you have any time off the boat? Any great destinations?
I mean, you've been to a cruise, and I mean, of course, you go and you visit, but you cannot really see that much because you have few hours just to go shore and to visit what's nearby the port, and that's it. But of course, at that time, I started to work in the cruise ship when I was 21 years old. So for me, it was like, I'm traveling the world. No, I remember, for instance, we started in Miami. The second day you are in Panama, then you are in Colombia, then you are in Mexico. I don't know. So, or you go to Europe, and one day you are in the UK, and then you're in Poland, and then you're in Stockholm, and then you're in Copenhagen.
Yeah,
it's super cool, no? But then you have to be working in the kitchen as well. It's not like you can go every day to visit and you are on a vacation. You need to be there. You need to work.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I tend to travel to destinations and not do cruises so much because also you don't get the nightlife. Like if you have to be back on the boat, you have a couple of hours. But it is that you got to go to these cities and get, a taste of them at a young age and get that experience. So after the cruise, you came back to Mexico City?
I came back to Mexico City and I was in my house and I don't know, I don't remember, but I saw a magazine and it was Enrique Olvera on the magazine from Puyol. Yeah. And I was like, I should go there to see, to ask for a job. No, I was, when you are on a cruise, you have usually between 2 and 3 months unpaid vacations, and then you go back to the ship. And I was in this period at that time, spending my vacations here in the city. And I don't know why at that time I was like thinking myself to working in the cruise. I don't know for how long, but I was like not considering to coming back then. Yeah. I was 25 years old, something like that. So I was like, I should go. I don't want to be here in my house spending the money. I work so hard in the ship. So I just like learn something different. And I don't want to go and party every day with my friends. And I will waste my money. So I went there. And Alejandra, which now is my wife, she interviewed me. And I started to work there. And then we became a couple. And after, I don't know, 15, 16 years of marriage, here we are.
I love it. I love that a love story came from a job interview at a very highly regarded restaurant. I went when I was here in 2018, and it was in its new location. I know it had previously a different location. But that's a top restaurant. It's funny how you told the story almost like you saw it in a magazine, so you knew it was a highly regarded place. But I can't imagine it was a easy kitchen to work in, or was it?
After working in a cruise,
anything
I won't say it's easy. Yeah, but it's easier.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of work, because again, you are working again with only Mexican. At the time, it was only Mexicans, and it was a small operation compared to a ship. Right. No, and I was used to hard work. So for me, I believe that nowadays, I won't say nothing scares me, but I have a tough skin. Yeah. So for me, it was like, okay, I can manage this. Yeah.
I hear you. So when did you and Ali decide that you were going to open your own restaurant and come up with the concept of Quintonil?
It was like a no-brainer for us because we became couple, both of us working in the restaurant industry. She's super talented in terms of the administration. She's super charmed, so she can manage the front of the house. And I can cook. So we decided, why not?
Perfect combo.
Yeah, and we love each other. We have our savings. Let's try. So we started to look to for a place to make quintonil. And also, no, I mean, it's not that I was always, for me, working in with Mexican food, but because of my last job was at Puyol, and I'm Mexican, for me it was also again a no-brainer to open a Mexican restaurant. Why not? I've been eating Mexican food for my entire life, and I love Mexican food. And it's like, I don't know, I can say I have the taste,
Yeah.
you know,
The palate.
The palate, yeah. I think the palate you need to develop even now. I always try to train myself and to discover things and to make me more aware of the flavors and how to create now as a chef and as a guy that do creativity. I need to be very like in calm and in with all my senses. But back to the story, and we started. We wanted to do a. I mean, you see the place, no? It's a very small place. We have only 35 seats, and the kitchen is very small. It was even smaller at that time, and we were like, we should look for a place that we can have the restaurant, and then in the second floor we can build a house. So we found this place, and we lived for 6 years in the second floor of the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
And it was also super tough, no? Because it was like coming back to the ship again, no? When you work in the ship, you work for whatever the long hours, no? Back then, I don't know if it's the same right now because things have changed a lot in the hospitality business in the recent years, for the good, of course. But when I was in the cruise ship, we used to work 16 hours, 17 hours, something like that. And the owner of my own place, I was working again these super long shifts and just go to sleep, take a shower, come back again to work, do the whole day, come back, and that was our life for 6 years. At some point, we were like, this is not sustainable. We need to go out at least to walk, not to have our own place, because it was like living in one of the tables.
Yeah,
no?
yeah, it was a little too close. Convenient, but a little too close.
Yes. So we put a little bit of land in between the house and our other house, which is Quintonil. Yeah.
What does the name Quintonil mean?
Quintonil is a herb, actually. It's like a wild herb. It's a wild amaranth. Okay. And it's a herb that can grow basically everywhere. Even now in the streets, you can see quintoniles when it's the raining season, because it's a very, resilient, very. It grows everywhere here in Mexico, and it's a variety of quelite. It's edible, actually. It's like with this spinachy flavor, but then when it starts to grow, the leaf becomes a little bit, like hard. You cannot eat it anymore, but then you start to have the wild amaranth on top, and it looks really nice. It's very nice, but you can only eat it when it's a sprout. Yeah, and it means, quintonil means sprout that grows because of the sun, something like that. Yeah.
So why did you name it that? And is it something you use a lot in different dishes, or it depends?
Not really. I mean, it's a seasonal leaf. You can find it in the very humble and the rural areas as a dish. Usually, it's only sauté with onions and then the quintoniles, and then you just eat it with tortillas or with cheese and a quesadilla. Sometimes they do soups, but it's not really like that. I don't know, like sophisticated. You don't find this in super sophisticated dishes. But we wanted to go deep to the ground. What does really means to cook Mexico? And we wanted to have this sense of Mexicanity, if that makes sense, but not attached to the tradition, but attached to the soil, to the land, to what does it really means to be Mexican. And we still believe in that. I think we nailed it.
I think you did too, and I think I pronounced it correct. Quintonil?
Quintonil.
Sometimes pronunciation isn't my strongest point, and I'm like,
you did it
I think I got
perfect.
this one. I think I got this one. So I like the name. And let's talk a little about your menu and how it's evolved over the years, because your tasting menu only lunch and dinner. Has it always been that way?
Actually, not. I told you when I start cooking, I used to work in a fonda, and because of the setup of the restaurant was very humble, we decided to have this this kind of like a prefix menu, and also an a la carte. So we had an a la carte recipes, and then a prefixed everyday changing, and then people started to come. Of course, the locals. This part of Polanco wasn't what it is right now. It's full of restaurants, like super fancy stores and so on. But back then it was just like another neighborhood. The fancy part of Polanco at that time was like in the beginning of Mazarik, and now it's a little bit slightly moving from there to where we are right now. And it was coming visited by locals, Quintonil, back then, because we had this menu changing daily, not super cheap, because in a fonda you can eat for $5, and you have this prefix menu like a salad, a soup, and main course and a dessert, $6.
That's a good deal.
Yeah. And it's good food, believe me. Yeah. We were a little bit above, but with the better ingredients, and of course the a la carte selection was very Mexican, but a little bit contemporary, because I like it to cook like this. Yeah. I found myself very, very confident by cooking Mexican food, attached to the memories, attached to how I like to eat. And that's my point of view when I when I cook here in the restaurant. I want to be myself, of course, learning every day from the traditions, but not to be too much attached to the tradition. It's more like my we always say that here in Quintonil, we like to celebrate Mexico in every single aspect, to be a Mexican, from the street food, from the traditional recipes, the way we eat at home. Of course, put all this setup in a super contemporary way, still casual. We don't want to feel people like super stiff or in a fine dining. I believe fine dining must be fine eating, not feeling wrong. Yeah. I do more fine eating because I like the people to eat nice.
I like that. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say that term before, but I've heard people talk about what you're talking about, the idea. But yeah, fine eating. It's nice.
I just
You just made it up? Okay. Yeah. Here, breaking news. We came up with, you came up with a new term on my show. But yeah, no, I mean, fine dining, it doesn't necessarily mean white tablecloths and dressing up in your tuxedo or whatever. It's just to have a really amazing dining experience, food, ambiance, service, all of that. It can be more casual. For me, it's how people make you feel, the experience. I feel from dining now around the world, I've been very spoiled to dine at a lot of amazing restaurants. I think my takeaway is always how people make me feel, even if the food is exceptional. If the service and the hospitality isn't there, you're not comfortable in the restaurant, the experience isn't the same, or it's dampened a little bit, even if it's exceptional food. So I feel like that's something you and Ellie are bringing to your place.
That's what we want. That's the goal. Yeah. We want to make people feel happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you get hospitality. So, and how often are you changing the menu? What can I expect today with my lunch? Anything you're super excited about on the menu?
All the time. I mean, I'm all the time excited.
Yeah, I'm sure
If
you're
you
excited about
lose
the whole menu.
excitement,
Yeah.
if you lose excitement of cooking every day, I think you have to quit. Of course, we have our few classics in the restaurant,
Yeah.
but we always are changing dishes because Mexico, we are so rich, we are so lucky to have this huge biodiversity, this huge amount of different ingredients. I always like to say that Mexican gastronomy, it's a collection of Mexican regions in gastronomy. It's like having a encyclopedia of Oaxaca, and then you will have like 20 years of new recipes every day, and then you go to Puebla, and then you go to the Yucatan, and it's still constantly learning something different. So I take hand of this and always discovering new ingredients and discovering new ways of using the ingredients I love. And we change the menu like organically through the year with things that comes super fresh. Now it's time of the tomatoes, so we're doing tomatoes, and then we found an amazing producer of biological trout that it's amazing, and no one, at least here in Mexico, is using trout because it's considered cheap. I don't know.
I like trout.
I love trout, so we're using trout, and we're using a bunch of herbs because it's summer, and then we have mushrooms. So all the time changing through the year, like not by set by a season, but set by what comes the freshest and the things that makes me feel excited about cooking.
As far as a signature dish or something, there's just something you can't take off the menu, or it's on the menu, but it's in its own version based on the seasonality.
We have one that people love, and I also love it. And I think it's very, very, very interesting to eat, but also it's fun to eat. It's a green mole we have, which is all the moles are hot. No, of course. Yeah. In this case, it's a cold mole.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes we do it when it's the season of the crab. We do it with crab. Now we have beautiful zucchini, so we're doing with zucchinis in a vegan version, and I like it a lot. It's one of my classics, and it's one of the really, really dishes that makes me very proud. And then we have a coconut ice cream that I really love as well, because I love coconut ice cream. Yeah. So that for me are the two classics that we have right now in the restaurant.
Oh, I'm so excited. The lunch coming up. And actually bringing up the mole, something I wanted to ask you about, or because I read and I always say Pujol, but it's Pujol. Yeah. Something about a mole being attributed to you and your restaurant. Is there a story behind that? Am I getting that at all right? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like it was an anniversary, or when you're opening the restaurant, or they made a mole.
On the first anniversary of the restaurant, Enrique came to cook with us.
Yeah.
And he was making this mole, and he decided to keep doing it every day. And the leftover they had from the previous night, put it back into the new batch. And I think they still cooking this version.
That's the story. Yeah, because I remember when I dined there, there's the one dish with the mole, and it's one mole inside the other mole, and they tell you the year, the date, or how long it's been aging, the process of it. But yeah, okay. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It's super, super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And Enrique and you and Elena Regatas, who we just had a fabulous breakfast this morning at her bakery, Panaderia Rosetta. You guys are all a part of my Chef Wise book, which I'm super proud of and honored to have you contribute. So I just want to know, while we're doing this conversation, people need to get the book to get all your advice, but what's your top chef advice?
I will say probably I already mentioned it a couple times today. You have to be very disciplined. You have to be very passionate about giving yourself with no egos to the guest, because at the end we are giving who we are to the guests. Yeah. And we don't need to forget that we are nothing without people coming to the restaurants. It doesn't matter if you invented the most avant-garde technique. It's about giving. Yeah. And for me, I want to be remembered not for the people that I feed in the restaurant, but for my alums, the people I train, to be a good guy also. Yeah. I believe if people or my cooks, if they ask my cooks, what do you think about Jorge? I just want them to answer, hopefully, that I was a good guy.
I think you've built that reputation from everything I know. I think you're an amazing guy, and I feel, very lucky to know you, be here with you today, be coming back to your restaurant, and that's really lovely. I want to ask you, before we wrap up, about recognition and awards, because, well, first of all, congratulations. I mean, you've achieved a lot since opening this restaurant, and you're currently number 3 on the world's 50 best restaurants list. That's incredible. I guess I want to know how you feel about awards, and was it a goal to be recognized, or just kind of something that came naturally as running your restaurant, trying to be the best you can be?
We never expect this. I mean, here we are in the restaurant. It's not a huge investment. We don't have silver cutlery. We don't have investors on our back to do the things we do. We started because we wanted, but we also needed to have a successful restaurant, financially speaking, as well. And because we have, people that works with us, they believe in us, and we, in a way, we have now these days over 60 families that relies on us in my good decisions or not. So, of course, over the years, the recognition started, and we are very lucky. We feel very proud, but we work very hard. Yes, I know that. I think you never, or in my perspective, I never work for the accolades or the recognition or the rankings, but then you have it, and then you have also the responsibility, because people really are expecting to come to the top restaurant. Yeah. So for me, it's of course a huge honor, but also a big responsibility for the people that work for me and for the people that comes to dine with us. So we are the number 3 in the world right now. We will keep going. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah. But we believe that we have something special, and we want to keep that magic in our veins, not to make us feel proud about what we do every day and come and feel we're doing something special. Yeah, I love it. And congratulations. I think it's so well-deserved and wonderful. And I think to get that recognition, the expectation of people and living up to it, it's also can create a little pressure or the responsibility of it, as you said. But I think it's amazing. So congratulations. Thank you. And before I let you go, would you please play my speed round game with me? Yes. So I always think I should actually kick off our conversation with the speed round, because it's the fun part of the show. Well, this has been fun. I love hearing your story. But I'm going to name a couple things like chocolate or vanilla, give you a choice, and you get to pick your preference. Okay. So here we go. Eat in at home or eat out at a restaurant? At home.
So many chefs, especially that I've interviewed lately, say at home. And I'm always like, yeah, I get it. Okay. Indoor dining or outdoor dining?
Outdoor.
A day like today, outdoor, except it's a little warm, but okay. Wine, beer, cocktail, non-alcoholic drink, or champagne?
I like wine.
Any particular one?
White wines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tasting menu or a la carte?
It depends.
Okay.
I love both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Small plates or large plates?
Small.
Communal table or chef's counter?
Chef's counter.
Tipping or all-inclusive charge?
Tipping.
Okay. How about La Lucha or soccer or another sport? Is La Lucha a sport?
It is a sport, but I love Formula One.
Formula One. I've never been to a race and I'd like to go. Do you go often?
I try, yeah. I love racing cars.
Do you yourself race?
No, never.
Okay.
Just I love the energy.
What's the last one you went to?
Last October, here in the Grand Prix in Mexico City.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was out, I don't know, I was in Vegas a couple of times this past year and they were getting ready for it. But yeah, that's a bucket list. But bucket list, I got to go to La Lucha.
And then you did it.
Yeah. It was fun. Okay, how about fish tacos, carnitas, grasshopper tacos? What's your pick a taco?
Carnitas, for sure. Yeah, I love carnitas.
Yeah, well, so far, this trip of just the tacos I've had, everyone has been so good. We have great tacos, I believe, in New York City, but something about being here and seeing the whole process, and it's special. Definitely good stuff happening in Mexico City. Okay, last two are cheese plate or dessert.
Dessert.
And final one will be New York City or Mexico City.
Mexico City, 100%.
I had a feeling you're going to say that, but awesome. That's the game. You win.
Thank you. Good questions.
It's fine. I like hearing the answers. And I think I used to be surprised when chefs would say they'd rather eat home than at a restaurant. But I get you're always in restaurants and it's nice to have a home-cooked meal.
I honestly, I want to be with my family.
Yeah.
It's it's not the sad part, but the tough part of being a chef, and especially chefs like us that we are so intense or I don't know how to say it, workaholics, is that we don't spend that much time with our family. So I try to be as much as I can with them. Whenever I have the time to be outside the kitchen in my restaurant, I go with my family.
Yeah, I love that. And also you have the added layer, or I guess it's a pro and it could also be challenging, that you work with your wife and, it's a family business. So I think it's interesting because I just did an interview with JP and Elia Park of Automix, and they're similar where they work together and it works for them. It works for you, but it's also figuring out, I guess, when you're at work or when you're doing personal stuff.
100%. And also I have to say that sometimes the people, they don't understand that you have a life and you're just a normal guy. Me, it happens that I'm the chef of the restaurant, and sometimes the people, they are like, but why he's not here? Because he also needs to have a day off. I also need that, and I think people needs to understand that they come to the restaurant, they come to have the experience, not to see the chef. I'm just another part of the machinery of the restaurant, but the restaurant works the same as when I'm in the restaurant or when I'm not. Like the other guys, it's someday the guy from the protein section, he have a day off. There's another one who takes over the station, and everything goes the way it should be. All of us, we are a part of something bigger and greater, but we are human beings working for human beings, gentlemen working for gentlemen.
On that note, Thank you so much for having me and for taking the time to chat today. I loved hearing more of your story, and I'm so happy to be back in Mexico City. Yes, it took me 7 years to get back, but I'm here.
But now you need to come back more often.
Direct flight, I'm down for it. And you need to come back to New York and we can hang out there and go restaurant hopping. How about that?
Done.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. And yeah, I just feel really lucky to be here and to know you. And I think everything you've accomplished is so well-deserved. And I'm just happy for you. So much continued success.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. If you've ever listened to this show and thought, I want to be part of the food world, it's time to check out the Institute of Culinary Education. With campuses in New York City and Los Angeles, plus online options, this school puts you right in the heart of the industry. Programs include culinary arts, pastry and baking, restaurant management, sommelier training, and more. And you can graduate in as little as 8 months. You've heard from some of the school's alumni on this show. Gail Simmons, Andrew Ridgie, Missy Robbins, they all got their start at the Institute of Culinary Education. And now, as a listener of this show, you're invited to attend a complimentary class. Just email the word guest to info@ice.edu and experience the Institute of Culinary Education for yourself. Email guest to info@ice.edu to reserve your complimentary seat today. Welcome back to All in the Industry. I'm your host and producer, Sherry Bayer, and I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Jorge Vallejo, the chef and owner of Quintonil in Mexico City, a 2 Michelin star restaurant that he runs with his wife, Ali Flores, and is currently ranked number 3 on the world's 50 best restaurants 2025, which is quite an accomplishment. So congratulations, Jorge and Ali and your entire team. I love being back in Mexico City and having time to spend with both of you and dine again at your exceptional restaurant and re-explore your wonderful city with fellow industry friends from around the world. It was an incredible couple days. So thank you so much. And again, congratulations on all your well-deserved success. I feel very lucky to know you and call you friends. Okay, it's time for my solo dining experience. So this week it's at Maximo. Here's the rundown. The location, Alvaro Obregon 65 bis, Colonia Roma Norte, Mexico City, Mexico. The concept, contemporary Mexican gastronomy. Maximo, or as it was originally called, Maximo Bistro, opened 11 years ago as a space for creating diverse dishes with a wide range of techniques using only the finest local ingredients, located on Tonala Street. It relocated in 2020 to this more spacious setting, still with a focus on the best hyper-seasonal ingredients. The chef and owner, Eduardo Lalo Garcia, and he runs the restaurant with his wife, Gabriela Lopez. Well, they apparently met at Enrique Overo's Puyol, so they have a similar story to Jorge and Ali, which is pretty fun. So why'd I go? Well, I'd heard wonderful things and that it was worth a visit. So I made it happen. So my experience. I didn't have that much time on this trip for solo dining, but I did have an opportunity for an early dinner. So I made a reservation for 1 and I arrived and I was impressed with the space. It was very welcoming. I was warmly greeted. And I was seated at a 2-top along a banquette in the middle of the dining room. And my server was wonderful. It guided me through the menu and helped me decide what to get. Because as you know, solo can be challenging when you want to order lots of things and you need to make decisions because you can't have the entire menu. So my server was very helpful and I was happy with what I got, very happy, and I had a really nice time. So what did I get? I started with the sea bass and heritage corn aguachile with chiltepin and dragon fruit. Then I had the braised Wagyu beef tongue with homemade mole. And for dessert, Charande goat cheese ice cream, or helado, with guava and olive oil. Plus, to drink, I had a kombucha with a brand from Oaxaca called Playa Diana. And I also had sparkling water. And at the end of my meal, I had an espresso. So my take, everything was delicious. The sea bass aguachile was super fresh, full of flavor. I absolutely loved the beef tongue. It was recommended, and I see why. It's not something I eat that often, but this dish really was spectacular. So I highly recommend it. And it came with an organic sweet potato puree, which was phenomenal. I love sweet potato. So it was definitely delicious. And the dessert was as well. The goat cheese ice cream was wonderful. So it was a great meal. Okay, the ambiance. So it's a beautiful space. It kind of has an industrial feel of a warehouse with high ceilings and warm lighting, but it's modern and has white bricks. And when you enter, there's a long hallway that you pass by the open kitchen. So as you can say hi to the chefs as you're entering the dining room. I'd say it's perfect for dining solo, a date night, dinner with friends. It's a chic ambiance. I think you can't go wrong whoever you're with. Interesting tidbit. So Maximo is currently number 43 on Latin America's 50 Best Restaurants 2025, which is awesome. Congratulations. Personal fun fact. Okay, so other meals I had while in Mexico City. First of all, my outstanding lunch at Quintonil with non-alcoholic pairings. It was absolutely fabulous. The space had changed a bit from when I was there many years ago. They opened up the kitchen, so they have a chef's counter in the back, which is not where I sat because I wasn't solo, but I think it would be ideal if you were solo or with one or two other people. But I sat with industry friends at a table right in front of the open kitchen, and it had these high ceilings. And actually, we had a rainstorm in the middle of lunch, and they have a retractable roof. So luckily able to close the roof, but it was very cool. The design of the space is lovely and very welcoming. And our meal was exceptional. Courses included snacks, gordita, trucha, which is trout, which Jorge and I talked about in our interview. There were a variety of insects included in the tasting menu, such as escamoles and chapulin, and something that the restaurant is known for. And we also had tamal and ribeye and elote and dulces for dessert. And also at the end, they showed us our kitchen ticket with the time markings of the delivery of each dish, which I'd never been presented before after any of my meals. So I thought that was cool. And the entire experience was so special. So thank you so much to Jorge and Ali and their entire team. Also in Mexico City, I dined at Mazajo, which is a 100% nixtamal taco bar. And you can order tacos in the front along the street and stand and eat them. It's like a chef's counter. And there's a chef's counter that goes around the whole space. And we got to go in the middle of the kitchen at an island and enjoy our taco extravaganza standing in the kitchen. So it was very cool. The chef is Santiago Moctezuma, and he was so lovely and welcoming and certainly can cook. It was really awesome. We also went to La Docena, which is Thomas Bermudez's restaurant, and here we had exceptional seafood, and thank you so much to Thomas for preparing for us a fabulous dinner with a seafood tower and whole fish, and everything was so delicious. It was really a treat. And La Docena is currently on Latin America's 50 Best list as number 51. So congratulations. We also had a late dinner at Bonatico, which is all outdoor, and it feels almost like you're dining in a rainforest. It's a beautiful setting. There's lots of massive trees and it's just really nicely lit. And it just has a very cool patio vibe. And the chefs there were Ali Navarro and Ernesto Hernandez. So thank you so much to you both and your team for being so welcoming. We also went to Panderia Rosetta, which is Elena Regatta's outstanding bakery. She does the most beautiful pastries, and we sat outside. And Elena is also in my Chef Wise book, and I met her many years ago. I'd been to her restaurant, Rosetta, and I also made it back on this trip solo to her restaurant, Cafe Nin, which is a gorgeous space and crosses between being a bakery as well as a wine bar. All of our places are not only so delicious, but they're really beautifully designed. And Elena was there in the morning and got to see her. Thank you, Elena. We also had a wonderful lunch in the wine cellar at the Intercontinental Mexico City. I don't know how many people get to dine in the wine cellar, but thank you so much. And thank you for the tour. We got to see the presidential suite at the hotel. Quite impressive, to say the least. And also went to Handshake Speakeasy, which was named the #1 world's best bar in 2024 and North America's #1 bar in 2025. And this is a cool spot. Thank you to one of the owners, Rodrigo Uraca, who showed us around. And I got some nice non-alcoholic drinks. I had a version of a White Russian and a Hojicha tea champagne. And also popped by El Moro for some churros and some markets. And yes, Lucha Libre, we got some full entertainment with La Lucha, the wrestling event in Mexico City, which is big there. And one more, we had an authentic breakfast at El Cardenal Ciudadela, which seemed like the place to be. And that was a treat too. So I think that's everything. And if not, it's some highlights. But thank you to all the chefs and to Jorge and Ali and their team for everything. Another personal fun fact, the last time I was in Mexico City, as I mentioned, I did go to Rosetta. I also went to Contramar and Pujol and had amazing street tacos and barbacoa in the mountains, and everything was exceptional. Mexico City's great. If you haven't been, I suggest going. Okay, the cost of my meal at Maximo was 2,147 Mexican pesos, which is about 116 US dollars. Would I go back? Yes. Their website is maximobistro.com.mx and Instagram at Maximo Bistro, and that's MIXIMOBISTROT. And that's the show. Thank you again so much to Jorge Vallejo, Ali Flores, and their entire team, and Fizzer and Barker's team as well. So grateful for this experience, and I'm so glad, Jorge, that we had time to chat. Congratulations on all of your success, and I hope to see you again soon. To find out more about his restaurant, you go to quintonil.com. That's QUINTONIL.com. And you can follow Jorge at Jorge Vallejo. That's JORGEVALLEJO. And at rest_Quintonil. That's REST_QUINTONIL. You can follow me at Sherry Bayer at Bayer PR and at All Industry. My YouTube channel and Facebook page are All in the Industry. And you can find all of our episodes at allintheindustry.com, as well as wherever you find your podcasts, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or elsewhere. You can check out my other websites, BayerPublicRelations.com and SherryBayer.com. And my book, Chef Wise, is available wherever books are sold and on Fiden's website as well. Thanks to the Institute of Culinary Education for their support of this episode. To learn more, visit ice.edu today. And finally, thanks to my engineer, Armin Spentagian. I am your host and producer, Sherry Bayer. I will be back soon with a new show. I hope you'll tune in then. And thank you as always for being part of All the Industry. Bye. All in the Industry is an independent podcast hosted and produced by Sherry Bayer. Follow us on Instagram at All Industry and on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, All in the Industry. Subscribe to our show wherever you listen to your podcasts so you don't miss any new episodes. To learn more, visit allintheindustry.com.